A thrilling Qatar Grand Prix saw Verstappen storm to victory from second on the grid, defeating both Lando Norris and George Russell. Verstappen had originally secured pole position, but during the final stages of qualifying, he was handed a one-place grid penalty by the stewards for driving too slowly ahead of the Mercedes cars. Despite posting the fastest lap and setting himself up for his first pole since the Austrian Grand Prix, the penalty saw him lose the top spot to Russell. Naturally, this didn't sit well with Mad Max, who has since been vocal about his frustration with the decision. The fiery rivalry between Verstappen and Russell is quickly becoming one of the most talked-about storylines of the season. What exactly was the qualifying saga like? As the session was nearing its end, Verstappen was on a slow lap, preparing for his final flying attempt. However, he was visibly caught up by Russell, who was on a faster lap and rapidly closing in on Verstappen in the middle sector. As Russell approached, Verstappen, unaware, was still in the middle of a slow lap, forcing Russell to take evasive action. This resulted in Russell running wide and cutting across the gravel at high speed, which disrupted his own lap. This led to Max getting summoned by the stewards, and that's where Russell played his cards right, stating that if a car was going slow in a high-speed corner, it should not be on the racing line. Now he is not entirely wrong, is he? This led to the FIA releasing a document that accused Max of not complying with the race director's event notes, and that he clearly was driving in their determination, unnecessarily slowly considering the circumstances. It was obvious the driver of Car 1 was attempting to cool his tires. He also could see Car 63 approaching, as he looked in his mirror multiple times whilst on the small straight between turns 11 and 12. It was in that very moment, with the sun setting over the desert landscape, that Max Verstappen knew exactly what needed to be done. It was time to seize the moment and deliver a lesson Russell would never forget. Despite Russell's advantage of starting from pole position, Verstappen's determination burned bright, and with a blistering performance that left the competition in the dust, the Red Bull driver stormed his way to victory from P2 on the grid, a masterclass in precision and power. But it wasn't just the win that had Verstappen seething. Russell's claims that the Dutchman had deliberately slowed down during his final push lap, that was the spark that lit the fuse. As Verstappen crossed the line in triumph, the fury within him erupted, and he wasn't about to hold back, letting the British driver know exactly how he felt. The way he acted was completely ridiculous. I have respect for everyone, but I lost it with him. I thought it was ridiculous how he wanted to give me a penalty. I was also quite angry with him about that. And Max did not just stop there. He went on to call Russell two-faced for his actions, saying, "He's very neat in front of the camera, but off camera he's a completely different person. I can't stand that. You might as well get the hell out of here. I don't want anything to do with that." This has surely caused a lot of tension between the two racers who have been friends since their early days in Formula 1. They have had their fair share of tussles, but have kept their relationship aside out of the track. And not just Verstappen, but Red Bull team principal Christian Horner was also upset with Russ for his actions. He even defended the slow driving by Max during the qualifying race to Sky Sports F1 by explaining that everyone was jockeying and pushing for position on their respective outlaps, but the FIA still penalized his driver. So, Horner did not hold back either from letting Russ know what he thought about the Brit. Yesterday's penalty was more based on hysterics from George, who has been quite hysterical this weekend. There was a little bit of gamesmanship going on in that. A P4 finish at the Qatar GP and harsh words from the winners and his team's principal are not doing Russ any good at the moment. On the other hand, Max Verstappen's comments often highlight his fierce competitiveness and determination to gain an edge over his rivals. As one of the most successful drivers in Formula 1 in recent years, Verstappen's mindset shows how driven he is to constantly improve and stay ahead. But at the same time, there is nothing wrong with what Russell did, and we cannot say that he is at fault for using the rules against Verstappen. Although some would view his antics as ways of going against the spirit of sports. But would you really call it that? We don't think so. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, every individual in a Formula 1 garage, from drivers to engineers, mechanics, strategists, and team principals, is united by a single goal: winning races. Formula 1 is a sport where success is defined by crossing the finish line first, and everyone in the garage works relentlessly toward that aim. So being courteous and polite gets thrown out of the window the minute you get into the car and take the track, isn't that right?